In Sitting Pretty, Sitting Pretty, Sitting Pretty, Sitting Pretty.
Why can't keeping it real be classy? Okay. Why can't keeping it real be let me hold my peace and let me move on? Why can't keeping it real be, you know what? They may have done that, but I'm going to respect them and move forward. Why can't that be keeping it real? Right.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of Sitting Pretty and Keeping It what?
Real!
Okay, I hear y'all. Keeping it real. We've been off the mics for a minute, but we back for Season 3.
Right.
Bigger and better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, tonight we have a special guest with us. We have Noe here with us today, the host of Noe Knows Nothing podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you here to kick it off Season 3 with us. We appreciate it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
The start?
Right.
The start? Okay.
Yeah. They want me for
It's
number
going to be
one.
good.
The start or finish.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
Let's get started.
We're a little rusty, but
Yeah.
We got to clear our
Mom,
throats.
I said mom, I know. I'm going to have to.
Who's your mom?
Who's your mom?
There's no moms in here.
I'm your mama.
No, you're not.
I'm your pappy. I'm that baby's pappy.
Something's wrong with y'all. Okay. So to start off, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves around the table.
This is Kimmy Wild Pretty's at.
Spicy tea.
It's T to the E.
You can reintroduce
Oh, me
yourself.
too?
Yeah.
Noeygnome.
Hey, there you go.
Yes.
And it's your girl, Nikay. So, what
on the menu tonight?
what are we drinking tonight?
We are drinking a strawberry lemonade martini. Martini. I had to think about that.
That's
what we have.
tasty.
Garnish-
It is tasty.
Thank you. Garnished with a slice of lemon.
It tastes like
Do
squeeze
you
fresh
like it this
lemons.
time, Nikay?
Yeah, because she always be hating on my
She
martinis.
do. She typically be hating all the time.
It's because no one gives her the martini glass.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
doesn't feel like she
No, T
Glass.
to the E setting you up because she want her to say, I like T to the E's better.
You mean spicy tea?
Spicy tea is what I'm saying, yeah. But all them damn teas and shit.
No. I like to share the
Okay.
compliments.
Oh, you like to
so
share.
I want her to brag about T to the E's drinks.
Yeah, make me feel
Because
good.
it doesn't happen.
Oh,
that
they're
often.
so
Oh, see, you just had to throw some shade in there.
I knew she was
They're
I bet
so
you I won't make no more
tasty.
martinis for the rest of the season.
It's good.
It's
And then when you
delicious.
get here late, we're going to have water martinis.
Water martinis.
We all know you would never let that happen.
Right.
Not on my
Not
watch.
nervous belly.
Not on my watch.
Not. And what do we have on the menu for tonight, Kimmy?
Well, we have a grazing bar. We
Okay,
have
first
some-
off, y'all been saying this ever
It is.
since
It's
I
called
got
a grazing bar.
It's called a grazing bar.
I've never heard that term
Oh,
before.
did you need to
Use
look it
in
up on
regards
Pinterest?
to
You graze.
You graze.
You graze on it. Just eat and graze.
Thank
before
you,
dinner.
Noel, for
welcome.
chiming in on that.
So we
Because
ain't that
Nikay
old.
think we don't know what we're talking about.
She's
No,
so hip.
I just never heard it before.
Hip.
No, it is a
women
such
like
thing.
my age.
My mom uses that term.
Really?
Yeah.
Your mom? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So you
I'm
going
just
there-
being honest.
She's keeping it.
I'm keeping it real. But I do say that every now and
Yeah,
then.
it
But that's
is.
where I got it from.
Okay.
My mom.
Yeah, it's just you got a little bit of this and a little bit of that over there.
Yeah.
Y'all will see.
And
We post
what's,
it.
what's a little bit of this and a little bit of
A
that?
little bit of celery, a little bit of carrots, a little bit of cherry tomatoes, a little bit of mushrooms, pepperoni, and sliced cheese, and some pickles. And
Cucumbers and some almonds.
we got good stuff over
Bell
there. Don't
peppers.
be hating on us. Okay.
I mean, who's hating though? I'm gonna eat it.
Yes, you are. You're gonna graze. You're going to graze.
We're going to put it at the table and we're going to graze.
Oh, so you're gonna put that in the middle? of
No, he's going to pull the plates out and put them on the table. We can graze. We're going to do something different
I
this time.
like that.
See, new season, new things.
Yeah, we do a new thing.
New year, new us.
We fresh over here.
Look at us showing off for knowing.
We showing off for season 3.
The new with
The
Noe.
new.
That should be the name of the episode. The new.
The new with Noe. There you go.
I like that.
I like
The
that
new
too.
with Noe. Y'all a little creative
Yo, who's
tonight.
got to get a little bit bigger now with the new?
The new.
I retired my big
Oh, you
hoops.
did. Oh.
That's a whole other story. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
You probably got poop. No, let me stop.
All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the. Oh yeah, wait, we can't forget about Queen Bee.
She's out for tonight.
She'll be.
Shouts
She
out
might,
to Queen
so-
Bee.
We miss you.
We know you out there listening.
We
got
know you
you.
somewhere.
We got you.
He's somewhere out there. Hopefully we see you tonight. All right. So let's go ahead and get into, this isn't necessarily a hot topic, but let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the night. I mean, we haven't really sat at the table as a group in the year of 2020, so let's go ahead and
Happy New Year, guys.
And we're gonna break
Yes.
bread.
And it's February, so let's go ahead and talk about, I mean, like, how has the new year been going? The goals that you set or what you've hoped to reach in 2020, how is it going? You getting there thus far? So let's just go ahead and speak on, like, where is your mind at in 2020?
Oh, starting with me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of 2019, I think a lot of us do this. I had all these ideas. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go into the new year, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do everything that I've been doing better. And then I started off the year sick. And so I feel like February is almost the beginning of my new year. Because January, I was just like off and on. It was like one thing after another. So I literally feel like right now is my new year, even though we're already in February. Because I've only been healthy now for like a week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good, but I wasn't at the beginning.
For me, I would say the same thing. At the end of the year, it's like, oh, you have all these big dreams about how things are going to go with business, family, personal, all those good things. And then January, I feel like was just not a downer, but a lot of things happened in January. So
And the weather didn't help either.
the weather didn't help either. Like it being really gloomy.
It was gloomy in January?
It was a lot of gloom and rain and stuff.
So I just say, like, I'm probably going to piggyback off of you in February. It feels like now is like more of a new beginning.
But what do you have planned for the months here on out?
From the months here on out, I got a lot of good stuff planned. A lot of things I can't talk about.
So it's a
right
secret?
Now. It's a secret, yeah.
She pregnant.
It's stuff that I don't want to talk about on the mic, but I have a lot of plans for things.
We'll see when it happens.
Yes, that
we'll
we have
see.
in the works that has to do with like our family businesses and stuff. So
Cool.
Go on ahead, Spicy Tea.
oh, she
Don't
don't
hold
party
back.
all. She was
No, my year's actually started off kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be real honest. I'm not one to set goals and this year, new me. That's not me. I just want to be better than I was the previous year. But this year is kind of it's wearing me out a little bit
Already, and it's just January.
and
Yeah.
it's just not starting. So
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
it's starting off rough, and I see it getting better soon, but it's a little rough right now.
Well, what are you going to do to try to, like, get, like, your mini refreshers? And I know you're saying, like, it's rough, but what are you going to do in, like, the small downtime that you have to try to...
So I got a few vacations planned. Got a few girls trip.
Okay.
We're going out of town. Then I got some other things shaking and baking. And
How
so,
was shaking?
how's it
can't
shaking?
tell
How's
us.
it shaking?
Girl, twerking. It ain't shaking. It's
It's a
twerking.
hard shake. It's a hard shake.
I think everybody.
But
feels
no,
that way, too,
yeah. But I definitely make sure that I take the time out to have that me time and
Right.
away from everything. So
See, for
As
me,
you should.
Yeah.
For me, I don't do New Year's resolutions or anything like that. I just want to just try to look at every day positive, be positive, find the best thing out of it. And plus, too, it's one thing it's been going on probably for a while now, like just being more healthy, eating healthy, getting out there, moving around. And I've noticed in February, since the sun is out, and I can see the sun because the sun keeps me going.
You've been in the yard every day working.
Trying to work it out. Even
And
though I
it's
can go
weird
to the
that we
gym, but I
haven't
have
been
more
doing
energy.
anything for 2 months, and then you could feel it.
Yeah.
You know, you really could feel it. Like when we talk on the phone, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because
like
I
I got
haven't really
busier,
been.
though.
Really not me.
I feel like me personally, like I got like literally
during
right
our
when
break?
our podcast in, like I just got super busy. So hopefully I won't be that busy anymore now that I'm doing something. So
See, for me, it's the opposite because I just like we do so many little different things. I like just staying busy.
Yeah.
And it was like I was just sitting down just watching Lifetime, which I'm not regretting. The Christmas movies. I enjoyed every
I'm
bit
gonna
of those.
Netflix and chill all day
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So.
With who?
Oh Lord.
Yo, boo.
I would say your daddy, but that's my uncle.
I'll say it.
Yo, daddy. That was a good
You're sick. You're sick.
Oh, shoot. That was a good one. A girl never tells. might just Netflix and chill with my son.
Oh,
He don't like Netflix, so that'll only be about 10 minutes.
For me, I would say I haven't really set any goals. I just want to continue like working on my YouTube. I have my boyfriend, Malika Nikay. We're just trying to keep pushing with that.
She's trying to drop. She's trying to do a drop.
Oh yeah, I got a YouTube channel too.
Got a YouTube channel.
I've seen it.
You better not prank him no
Nike.
more.
I was like, she got the little accent, so I know it's not Nike, but until I know better, I'm gonna call her Nike.
Have you watched Stand That Out or no?
Thank you.
That's so sweet.
No more pranks.
Oh,
Whatever. Don't talk about
Keep
that.
the pranks rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
See, y'all three.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what keep it going. But just continue to do that. Just continue, I guess you can say, to kind of find myself and like work-wise, what I do that way, try to really steer it to something that I actually enjoy doing. Yeah.
Because you got more of an entrepreneurial spirit about yourself.
Yeah, but then it's so tough because I'm like, I have to have some change in my bank account.
Some coins.
Yeah, so it's so
it's
tough because
hard,
obviously when you go out on that limb, you're not going to just be rolling and making money immediately.
But I thought your mama said she was going to front you for
For a year or two.
until you make it big.
Mama in the same boat. She wants something different than her job too.
But yeah, that's what I'm really focusing on for the year. And just trying to, like Kimmy said, remain positive. I think that goes a long
There's a lot to be positive about, and we always get caught up on the other side. I can agree. Yeah.
It's very easy to get caught up on the other side too, but
Very easy.
But okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. But I'm going to let Spicy T handle this topic. I felt that she would be best handling this. So go ahead and I'll pass it over.
I don't know why, but can we get a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant?
His family.
And his family.
And all the other.
And the other ones. That was such a sad tragedy. I get emotional speaking about it because it's funny because Kobe wasn't really one of my favorite players.
Right.
But his cockiness, oh my God, I loved it. It just did something to my soul.
That sounds a little suspect. Soul. You sure your soul?
It's cocky. Like, he wasn't my favorite, but he did something to me.
Toes tingle.
He did something to me.
He made my toes tingle.
Her toes tingle when?
That man was so dang cocky, but just respects to the families involved and Kobe Bryant, Vanessa, my heart is with you. Oh my goodness, sad. It was sad.
That was so heavy.
It was super sad.
It's still too heavy, honestly.
Yeah, I try not to think about it. How do you feel about it?
I cried.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big basketball fan in general. If I like any sport, it would be basketball, but I'm not like a diehard fan. I don't have a team. I don't have a player, anything like that. But the story as a whole and who Kobe is outside of basketball, I did my podcast the next day. And I was like, I said to my partner, how am I supposed to make fucking jokes? I can cuss on here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, how am I supposed to do what I do and make light of stupid things when this just happened?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it doesn't
hard.
matter who you are, what sport you like, or what player you like. The whole story is awful. It's awful.
Upside down. The whole world was flipped upside down with that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was unbelievable. Like, when the news first hit, I was like, fake news. People always trying to get a story. This is why I hate, So I'm, like, going off, like, whatever. But, oh, my goodness, to know that it was true.
We were having a good day that day. Well, we were trying to,
It was morning. When did y'all find out?
We found out right away because we
right away.
And because TMZ took it back down real quick after they put it up real quick.
Yeah.
Were you guys together?
The three of us.
Now, what about
together.
how do y'all feel about TMZ breaking the news before
They
his
shouldn't.
family even?
That's the horrible. That was worse because when they shut it down, I'm like, they haven't told the family. That's why they took this off of here. I knew.
Well, they got a lot of heat.
They should have.
They got a lot of heat.
Well, that's why they're TMZ.
Yeah.
They don't care.
They don't care.
But
That's what they're known for.
I agree.
But the
I
thing
just
is,
know that's
when
the
have
thing
they
is not caring.
When have they ever respect? You know what I mean?
And
Like,
it just
when they get a
showed
story,
now.
they gonna run with it regardless
It
who
showed
knows.
now. It showed. With that
Right.
Kobe thing showed that, like you said, they don't care.
But it's
It
finding
is
out that
crazy.
your husband and daughter
Yeah.
died through a
They got to do
app,
something about that.
Instagram,
Yeah.
television, like that is sucky.
Yeah, they got to figure something out.
Well, and then they're sitting there wondering, like we said, is this fake news?
Is it fake?
Right.
Yeah.
There's no
Is it
way.
fake news?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like there was what I think it was a ex NBA player, Rick Fox.
Right.
They were saying he was on the plane. So
His
what
whole
did that
family
take
went there.
his family
Exactly.
through? You know, he wasn't even on the
He
plane.
did an interview.
Yeah, like
on
they
YouTube.
would, like they were shocked about it. But you know, I think with certain things, I think they do need to wait until confirmation, like something like that, until there's.
Because they could have just said a
don't
famous
know.
person got in a helicopter accident and passed away.
Unnamed.
Unnamed or something.
Unnamed famous
with their
person,
daughter. Yeah,
right.
something.
But you know what? That happened with Michael Jackson. Y'all don't remember that?
Yeah.
With Michael Jackson, it got out just like that.
I think with everybody, I'm pretty sure the media knew before most of their family members know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I appreciate being little old me.
Right.
Yeah. That was a heavy one right there.
It was a heavy one. It was.
Can we go on a lighter note?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
I was
pipe
going
it
to speak
back
on
up.
something, but I'm not going to say
No,
it.
speak on it. Go
Do
ahead.
it.
No, I was just... Maybe it's too touchy, but
No,
I'm
go
into
ahead.
conspiracies.
Okay, go ahead.
So, do y'all think that in his, like, especially with LeBron
No.
passing him as the leading scorer, even though I know it all happened in the same day, there are just a lot of things that kind of coincided
I've
and
seen
made
some of the
sense. So,
conspiracy.
do you think, not necessarily even to LeBron James, but in regards to, like, the whole situation, do you think there was anything more behind it?
No.
I don't. Only because he flew the night before with his daughter, and so if it was a conspiracy, they could have made something happen.
Not
then.
just that. That's like
Yeah.
his like he's always flown.
On
Yeah.
helicopters.
You know what I mean?
or-
Yeah, so why they picked that day when all these other people were on the plane? If they just wanted something to happen to him, so you taking all these other people, families and kids? That's.
I mean, personally, I don't think he was the pilot. I don't think he was guided correctly. I think when he got into a certain area, there was nothing else they could do. They lost contact with him.
No, that helicopter wasn't up to date with some things.
But it was.
Yeah, I think I heard it was like an older.
It was an older one, but it also he couldn't see. There was no visibility, so they had to rely on. Like, this is my thing. Like, me personally, I'm like, if I can't see something, I'm not gonna do it. Like,
Even driving, if you can't see for 1 second, that's scary.
that's like, and it takes you back to what's that movie, Bird Box,
Yeah.
when they had to paint all the windows in the
yeah.
car, and they used the GPS to get to the
Store.
to the
To that
store.
store.
How many things did they run over?
Yeah.
How many? You know what I mean? It's like the same situation. Like, you have to rely on someone else to guide you, GPS you through this area. That's not possible.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
wouldn't.
possible.
I wouldn't have left
Yeah.
Well, when they left, it was okay. It was when they hit that area,
that little pocket. Okay.
that pocket. So it's just, but from my understanding, apparently they was going. I don't know. It's too many different stories. They was going to turn around. I don't know if they was going to turn around or what. But me, when visibility is not there, I'm not like you don't. I don't think. Oh, we're gonna go to this control. You're gonna talk me through. No.
Well, I think for them too, like we don't think about flying in a helicopter all the
Right.
time, but for them that was so
It was
normal.
normal.
And that was, to my knowledge, his like all the
his
time
normal.
pilot,
That's his transportation,
right?
yeah.
That was normal for them, and so and then the pilot too. He probably flies more than he drives, so they're probably just, like
They
we
feel
are
comfortable
when
in
monsoon
the car.
season hits. We're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is scary, but like,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
I'm sure they're just thinking we're gonna make it, and it's
Yeah.
It's
scary how quickly
Things change.
you can think you're safe and then you're not.
and you're not. But that's why I don't believe like it was a conspiracy or anything, because you never know when anything can happen to anybody at any point in time. Nobody is safe. I think it's the fact that it's like, oh, Kobe Bryant, you're this, you're that, you're this famous basketball, but he's human just like us.
Yeah.
You know, he bleed just like we bleed.
What do you think?
We will die just like he died.
I
Haven't said
I-
anything.
Because I'm into that conspiracy.
See, y'all
Oh,
crazy.
I wanna
Y'all do
hear.
that.
I want to
voodoo.
hear.
I don't want to hear
No,
because
it's not voodoo, but I've listened to one of the guys, and just some of the things that they say, I couldn't like put that off the table. Like it could be something like that.
like what?
Just like they were saying certain things about, like, first of all, how much China, how much business he had going on in China, and who is our number one competitor, or not competitor, people that the U.S. is in, not fights with, but that we don't really deal with. That was one thing, and the LeBron thing, they spoke about that. I don't know, it just makes you think, like, it just
I
makes
don't
you
know
still
why
think.
and I'm always
That's
skeptic of stuff, but I haven't been on that.
That's just cause that's a coincidence because he is on that platform.
And I mean, people that
Like normal people like me and you, they'll never say if anything like that happened to us, it'll
Oh,
never
yeah.
be a
There's
conspiracy.
no conspiracy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah.
But
And it could be one. And
But
you
why
still
is
won't-
it right? But why is it that when a famous person died, there's some conspiracy? Oh, they're Illuminati. They sacrificed their family, or
You
they
see
did
the little
this.
cartoon?
Yeah.
Did you see?
No, tell us about that.
Y'all
'Cause I
didn't see
heard
that?
something about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
that
Go
was
ahead.
that one kind of messed with me a little bit, and I still feel like you know, I don't think there's a conspiracy theory to it, but it does make you double think. There was a little cartoon made probably 10 years ago, and they were saying, oh, this predicted his death, and there's like a little cartoon where he crashes in a helicopter.
See,
And
that
people
kind of
show
stuff.
up to
With
save
Kobe?
him.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's got like trophies in his hand, and the helicopter goes down. And I don't know what the context of the
That's
cartoon
kind
was,
of
but it
weird.
was Kobe. And they're
didn't
like,
see
oh,
that.
this was predicted. And I thought, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my God, this, like, it's a conspiracy there. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then you think about it, well, maybe someone would make that cartoon if he only
Flies in a helicopter.
flies in a helicopter all
Yeah.
the time. They wouldn't predict him dying in a
Right.
car crash.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So,
there's
yeah.
a lot of weird,
Yeah.
it makes you double think.
Thing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what it does for me.
But
too.
then I'll even
Yeah.
go up to, I'm sorry, Biggie, when he, they said he was smart, he could tell the future. Because in his song, he said, blow up like the World Trade.
And they blew up the World Trade Center.
But
But they tried to blow up the World Trade
but
Center
in his
several
but in
times.
his context, how was he saying blow up?
blow up like money.
He meant
wise.
money
Like
wise.
money wise,
He meant
right?
money
But
wise.
you can spin anything into something. You know, it's just a manipulation aspect of it. But I got to check that cartoon out.
We'll never
It was The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah, I'll
they
send it to you.
predicted Donald Trump being president.
Actually,
too.
there was a lot of things.
It
The
was The
Simpsons.
Simpsons?
The
Yeah.
Simpsons has
The
predicted a
one
lot of
with Kobe, was
stuff.
it? Oh, okay. I
They
didn't know
predicted
that.
a lot of stuff.
things.
I want that. Yeah, now that Simpsons thing is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It's a few
That's
things
weird
that
because there's too many of them.
Too many
There's
of
too
them.
And
many
they're
of
not
them.
Yeah.
predicting. They just put it
It's-
out there
yeah,
so when it
before.
happens. So when they make it happen or when it happens, then you be like, oh yeah, they put
They
that
did.
on there. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's that. I just
Rest
want
in-
to speak on
Rest in
that.
peace,
Yeah.
Kobe, Gigi,
Rest in peace.
Alyssa, the Analotes, the
All those people. Yeah,
I don't know.
everybody
I forgot
was
the
on
rest
there.
of them.
I just blocked out the
Yeah.
news. I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
I had to get off of social media for 2 days.
I did it for like 3 or 4 days. Ask T to the didn't
I
I?
cried.
Yeah.
I just cried. I let it out.
Understandable.
So now I can look at it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to another topic at hand. So this is just a silly one. I just think this is silly within itself. So Burger King is giving out free Whoppers this Valentine's Day. Guess what you bring in? Guess what y'all have to bring in to get
I
a free
already
Whopper?
know.
A date.
Okay.
A loyal man.
You ain't giving away no burgers.
Wait, you have to bring something in?
Yeah.
A Whopper.
A marriage certificate? I don't know.
I know, so I'm
For
not gonna say
Valentine's
it.
Day?
No.
So
You
none of
gotta
us
bring in
got-
a picture of your ex.
Oh.
Like, why would you, what if you in a relationship with somebody else and you bring in a picture of your ex? Y'all
I'll
both
go
bring
take 2
Ain't gonna
pictures
like
and I'll get 2 Whoppers.
Cause you about that life.
I'm
With
about
your
that
new
life.
man, huh?
No, by myself.
No, I'm saying, like, would you be bold enough to
do it. Yeah,
do
I'll
it
take
with,
both
with a
pictures.
man?
Yeah. If he
What if
opens
the
up
man
all
brings
two-
a picture of his ex
Then
too?
we have a whole bunch of
Just
Whoppers.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
For we
all get
hungry.
Whoppers.
We got lunch.
Well, we'll have what,
Dinner.
a Whopper in there.
What if he brings in a picture of you?
I'm done.
Give me the Whopper.
I want to bring her in person just so you know it's real.
I'm done.
Oh no, it's over. It is for real. Then it's over right then. So I'm gonna take a picture of him.
It was-
and then hand it to them.
There was something else too about, I can't even think about it. I think I heard it on the radio or something. Something with your ex. I don't know what's up with people when they're celebrating their ex on Valentine's Day.
Probably because they ain't got nobody. It's probably less people together.
Like, what do you mean celebrating your ex?
You need to
on Valentine's
celebrate
Like
that
they
that's
make
your
it
ex.
more of a big
'Cause
deal
you're
about
Like
your ex.
viral things
Yeah,
that
It's a
you
viral
make money
thing, like,
off of.
yeah, like Valentine's Day, that's for lonely single people, like,
They're making it more toward that.
because
So they
there's
can
a lot
cover
of single
everybody,
people.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know what
people
I'm
ain't
gonna do.
loyal these
I don't
days.
know what I'm going to do for myself.
Day? Do y'all have any plans for Valentine's Day?
Nope.
Liar.
No comment. I don't like this
I
little
want to
stuff.
know.
Because she's half telling
She's
stuff.
blushing a little bit
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
I'm not blushing. I'm just.
You
Why you
half
so
telling stuff.
secretive?
I don't want my future Valentine to hear this. I'm like, nope.
Well, you got 7 days.
It's 7 days to Valentine's Day?
Yeah, it's on the
Girl,
14th.
what's you doing for Valentine's Day?
I have Galentine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
where your girlfriend, you hang out with your girlfriend, so you know.
I'm mad that I even just said that phrase like so casually.
Yeah, and
I
happy.
got a Galentine's Day.
So
But
you,
yeah.
you do it on Valentine's Day or the day before?
Oh, the day of. I'm just going out to dinner with a girlfriend.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
sweet.
Cool.
And we actually did that last year too. And we're
Really?
both still single.
Did you,
so-
did you give each other gifts?
No.
Okay.
It's
Just
good.
went out, had some
Yeah.
drinks, had some food.
I might do
Told
that.
each other we're pretty,
I
and
might
then
partake
went
in
home.
that.
You pretty. You
Girl, you're pretty. You're pretty too. We don't need no man. Okay, good night.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So spicy tea, I'm not over.
I ain't got time. I'm
Let
just
that
gonna
lady
peek
live
through
her
the
Thought
window.
she got out of it. She thought.
Yeah.
I'm just
Let
gonna
her
go
eat
peek
her
through the
Omaha
window.
So,
steaks.
Is it a possibility you have plans for Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day is Friday.
Yes.
She ain't got no plan. She don't even know what day it is.
I have to go to work.
I'm done.
Whatever.
Okay, what
Yeah,
are you
I'm
doing?
about- oh.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Y'all was supposed to cook for us. So I
But
don't
it's
know
on a
what's going
Friday,
on.
so I don't know.
Y'all cook you?
We was
But
gonna
y'all got chefs?
Yeah.
How much you paying them?
They
We were
offered.
gonna do something.
Y'all offered?
But
Oh,
now-
I need to start bringing my boy around.
Oh, you got a boo now.
Nah, I'm
Oh,
joking.
yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm not shy anymore. Just
I'm
give me a
joking.
meal.
I'm joking, but if I'm gonna get a free meal, sure.
It ain't free. We said we're cooking. We ain't say we was buying
So I
it.
just gotta buy. That's okay. I just gotta buy it.
Yep.
I want lobster. I want to eat like that one lady. She be having the lobsters and the shrimp and be like,
Oh yeah.
That's what we did
That's who
for Malik's
T to the E
birthday.
be watching. B Love.
she
what's
look
her
like
name?
she like her too.
Anyway, what's our next subject?
I know. Okay. So before we talk about this, well, no, we're just gonna go ahead and hop into it. So do y'all all know who Gervonta Davis is?
Yeah, it's a little midget.
He's a boxer, isn't he?
Oh, he is a boxer?
He's a boxer.
Oh, I didn't know what he did.
He like this
So
stuff.
I'm gonna
Are
show
you
you
sure?
the viral video before we
Okay.
continue. So this is what
Okay.
happened. This is the mother of his child. Oh, where did it go? This is what he
Yeah,
did.
child thought he was like 12.
Oh, I heard of it.
Where are they at? Right? At
At
a
a
boxing?
game.
Something at Super Bowl weekend.
He's Floyd Mayweather sponsors him.
Yeah, that adds up about right.
That sounds
Play it again. Okay.
Let me see. I didn't see it.
Okay.
She's watching the video, yo.
Okay. That's his girlfriend? His baby mom?
Baby's baby.
Okay.
I seen it too.
And so in the video, wherever they are at, somehow he snatches her up out of her seat and it's like, let's go. To me, it doesn't matter what the context was before what they were talking about before, what they were talking about in the midst of him snatching her up. She shouldn't have got snatched up like that. He actually got arrested for,
A couple days later.
yeah, he ended up getting arrested a couple days later in regards to the situation. But, like, I'm not even
What was the
upset.
charge?
What is it, domestic abuse?
It was
Okay.
something.
Yeah, I think it was a charge on that. But
It's
he's out
domestic
now.
even if you're not at the house?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it's between two people.
Okay.
It's considered domestic.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I thought you was going to ask him
He
that
said, I
again.
never once hit her. Yeah, I was aggressive and told her, come on.
No,
That's
you
the
beat her
mother
in
of my
house.
child, and I would never hurt her other than that. Happy
Yeah, if
New
that's
Year.
how you act in
In
public.
what you doing behind those doors?
That's what everybody was saying.
And he, like, snatched
You like
her
my
up.
height.
Yeah, he's a little guy. He's an itty bitty
Drop kick
guy.
that little thing.
I would have too.
So what do y'all feel about that? Like, what if I couldn't even see? I can't even try to
But
picture
no, I'll
myself
go
in that
first.
position. Like somebody, like I don't know.
Well, it's embarrassing on both accounts because you guys are in public. But that's the first place my mind goes is if that's how you act in public,
Right.
then what are you
You're
doing?
10 times worse.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter the context.
Right.
He grabbed the shit out of her and pushed her around. So
And she didn't flinch.
She just
no,
went with him.
this happens.
It was a normal
This
thing.
happens.
Like me,
Yeah.
I probably would have been like, wait, like I would have gave him like the
No,
chest
it
punch.
was almost like she knew how to.
She
behave.
knew how to behave.
Because
Yeah.
better
if
not
she
resist.
pushed back, then she knew where he would go. That's what it looked
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
Entitled. I don't give a
I
damn
would
how
beat the
much
shit out
money
of
a
a
person
person.
has.
in public.
Yeah,
In
well,
public.
and
he got his
that's-
name
Wait, so
out
is he
there.
in jail now?
No, he
Is
just
that-
got out. He just posted on Instagram today. I think.
No, she's not gonna press charges.
Nuts and jacked them up.
Okay,
would've
it hurt.
liked
It got that.
Grab it by the nuts.
Yeah.
Well, he's so short. That's what the first thing my hands
Would have
would
liked it, you know, little men.
So, I mean, if you do the flip side of it, if you were her family and you seen that, what?
I would be
Oh,
concerned.
Concern.
They probably already know.
Yeah.
That's not the first time.
That's
He
not-
was
that's
way
definitely
too
not the
comfortable,
first
and
time.
she was way too
I'm
comfortable.
pretty sure she has a family member that be like, but girl, he got money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
gonna
give
get
a
a new
damn.
purse after that.
I don't give a damn.
No
I don't
purse
give
is
a damn.
worth that.
Nothing is worth that. So
I'll stand on the corner and pass out my resume.
Shake a little ass.
My real problem with the whole thing, I went and looked at the post. His apology or whatever was a goddamn Instagram story.
Yeah.
A story.
A story.
Like the lowest of the low type. And we don't know what happened between them, but
still,
an Instagram
at least
story.
a public apology for embarrassing her.
And embarrassing
Wait,
himself.
what do you mean? He said he meant like
His
put on the
apology,
story.
saying I was aggressive, but I would never hurt my
he put
kids'
it on
mom.
his story.
Yeah, but that was the official apology that the Shade Room, I guess, took.
Right.
That's low.
That is exactly, and then he has kids by her.
Up for 24 hours.
I think a kid.
Right.
But from my
Right.
understanding,
But that's
I
how
didn't know
they
they was together. Honestly, to be honest, any man, when they address somebody and they say that's my baby's mother,
That's no respect.
that's no respect in general. Like, is that your significant other? Is that your wife, your fiance? But to say that's my baby's mother, to me, that's like...
So you mean like if you're together, they shouldn't say baby's mom?
No.
Right.
Got you.
Y'all
That's
are
like-
together.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Even though y'all have kids,
Yeah.
I'm not your baby's mom. I'm your woman.
Yeah,
like, we're
they was together
together.
first before this kid.
Right.
So
So,
you're
I'm
saying
saying that.
you're
I feel
Yeah.
like we never think about it like
Yeah.
that.
no,
But
we
when you
don't.
say it like
That's
that,
so disrespectful. Like, if
But if they're
if
not
we're in a
together,
relationship
then-
and you're talking about, oh, that's my baby's, what?
Yeah.
no,
That's
I'm
what
your
I'm saying. Like, we're
girlfriend,
not together.
your
Girlfriend, I'm your,
fiance.
right? You're
Yeah.
whatever you want to say, but
Well, like
I am
saying
not
that's my
just your
homegirl.
right.
And
Because
most
when you say
guys-
that's my baby's mother, that
We're not
leaves it
together.
open. We're not together. You have all these thoughts chasing after you.
Yeah. When you
Speak
said
on
thoughts,
it.
I meant thought. Thought you meant thoughts.
all of that. All of that.
She means that too.
No, because that's what they'll say. They'll be like, "Oh, well, he said that's just his baby."
Yeah, that's just his baby's
She's just
mom.
my baby mama.
That's so good.
Right.
Oh my gosh, please stop.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like a implied just.
Right.
Implied just my baby mom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's disrespect.
Yeah, that's
So even that alone, you get yoked up, dragged out, and called the baby mama.
Three strikes.
Yeah, 'cause
you
why
out.
she-
My man is your size.
Find your life.
Yeah, because why is she even out there
She need
with
to
him?
call Ayana.
Yeah.
Well, there's another
Ayala, what's her name?
dude that got up first. They're having the little altercation, and I don't know if it's a relative or someone that was sitting right. And he gets up, so I'm almost like,
And he
were they
was bigger
were
than
they
the
talking
both of
too
them.
much or something?
He could have got in between them and
It looked like he was
down.
part of the problem, so he was like, I'm gonna get out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out of there for you get snatched up by little mister.
Oh, yeah.
Little
was he
mister.
again?
Little mister.
I don't care.
I think he
how
My
5'5".
height, honestly. No, I think he's shorter than that.
I think
he's
he's
my
5'.
height.
And what are you?
I think
4,
so too. He's
5?
little.
Really?
Really?
Oh, that would be
Because
cool.
if you calling her 4'5", you calling me 4'6".
I'm gonna take to Google right now.
And see,
there
because
we go.
right,
That's all he is.
Google.
I'm
You have
telling you.
Alexa,
I'm too
Siri.
curious.
How tall is Javante
No, he said,
Davis?
She might be in there like that.
Alexa.
She like that.
Why is you hollering? Oh, Alexa. I forgot about Alexa.
She blinking.
I forgot about Alexa.
She's like, is Noe's sister over there?
How tall is Javante Davis?
5'5".
Oh, you're right. He's
5'5".
Oh, he's tiny.
He's still tiny.
He's a munchkin.
A munchkin? All right.
Ooh.
We gonna go munch on
He a
these.
snack. To beat up.
No, he could snack on something. What?
Oh, please.
no, you
Don't
got
get
a nasty
started.
mind in
Oh,
2020.
I'm not even gonna let her finish. All right, so we about to go
I want to
ahead.
know.
Excuse me, T to the E.
She's the silent dirty type.
Yeah.
I've already felt that out right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Silent dirty type.
And
And
she
then
want
you know
her
what
to
she
come
does?
bust.
She'll say something dirty, and then I'll
Stop.
say something, and then she'll make
She'll
it like it was
edge
me.
you on.
Look, that's why they're doing this right now. That's exactly what they're doing
That's
right
what she
now.
does. She does that to me all the time. Thank you.
And you
Fall
feed
for
for it. You fall
Wait, I
for
know.
it.
Are you one of the Scorpios in the room?
I'm
a
this is
Leo.
Scorpio lady.
Okay, I knew there was a Scorpio in here.
Yeah, she hollered out Scorpio all damn November.
What are you?
Leo.
Okay, please. Now,
You
please
can call
stop.
me
That look
Nyla.
Call you who?
Nyla.
I don't know who that
Lion
is.
King.
Nala.
I was like, I knew that. I couldn't think of it.
No, she Nala. She ain't Nyla. Nala. She the get over it, you know, with Nala.
My country accent came out. I'm Nala. I was thinking of Nola Darling from She Gotta Have It.
I never could finish getting into that show. But we're not even going to talk
Sorry,
about
because that'll be a whole nother hour.
Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and snack on our snacks. We'll be back.
Graze on our grazing.
Oh, yeah, we got to go graze.
On our grazing.
In the grass.
People be like, Navarre, it don't ever bother you when people call you bougie? No. And I'm about to tell y'all why. Yeah. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Huh? Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get shot. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie, so you know it's rap. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get got. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie, so you know it's raps. Yeah, double C's on my eyes, so I'm seeing clear. Just left the dealership, I'm a swerve and steer. On the loop 202, and I'm heading near you. What? Okay, I might just pull up in the Accord, but don't worry, got the X3 keys in the door. What more can y'all even ask for? Fan first, pod son, sitting pretty, we on, yeah, we about to be litty on the moon, and we got new work coming real soon. And as for you, you should have been on, cause we about to take over the whole damn zone. We doing this as a team, so we all about to be flashy, what bling bling. Right, get it, but back to me. 800 on some bundles, that's nothing. A stack on some shoes, that's nothing. I know it's something to you, so why are y'all frontin'? Got 3 jobs, so you know your girl be hustling. I really just like nice stuff, so I'm not frontin' for nobody. Like y'all weak ass little thotties. Gotta call your sugar daddy just to buy an entree. But please don't get it twisted. Come try me and you might get your wig lifted. My daddy taught me well, so I don't with the snitches. Nah. Just know I'm bougie, and you gotta what? Deal with it. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get got. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie, so you know it's raps. Wrap it up then. It's your girl Nike on the track.
There you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and get back into our podcast. We are here on the second half. We had a tasty, as the ladies and Noe say, grazing.
Did you just tell me I'm not a lady?
Ladies.
Because they be, I call them the ladies.
She like trying
That
to
means
be
we're
funny.
old.
Yeah,
the
she's trying-
ladies.
yeah.
Well, shoot, Noe is one of the ladies with us all.
I'm tagging along.
Okay, so all of the ladies at the table besides me talked about a grazing dinner, and that's what we had today, a grazing.
And it was good.
And it was good. We still have a lot to graze. Right.
Graze and graze.
So we can go ahead and get into the second half. And wait, how are the drinks treating you, Noe?
Good.
Good? You
Yeah,
like them?
I'm good. Yeah, they're good.
Tasty. Anybody on their third?
Me? Is that like,
too.
is that shots fired?
No, not at all.
I had a long day, okay? Don't touch me.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the second half. So for the second half, Noe, it's going to be all about you.
Okay.
So to start off with, we kind of just like to ask you like a real kind of general question to get a feel, like tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you go up, kind of just like take us on a little timeline of like your journey as a person. In a sense, yeah. And then from there, we'll go in with feeding more questions and just asking the flow from there. So.
Okay. Well, I was raised in Seattle, Washington. Well, a little north of Seattle, but for anyone out here, I just say Seattle.
What city?
It's Lake Stevens.
Oh, okay.
It's about an hour north of Seattle. And then when I became a grown-up, I moved to Seattle. I moved out to Arizona probably 4.5 years ago now. I don't know. I just started my podcast like 7-8 months ago. When I first moved out here, I was working in radio, which is kind of what piqued the interest in YouTube and podcasting and all that stuff. I was raised Mormon. Not a lot of people know that. my whole family's from the South, so I'm kind of the only Pacific Northwest one in the family. I don't know. What else you got?
What
I'm
part
sure.
of the South? Yeah.
What's that?
What part of the South?
Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Well, what brought you to Phoenix, though, from Seattle?
I joke, like, the short answer is the sunshine. I just meet someone in a bar. What are you doing out here in the sunshine? I actually moved here. A boyfriend that I was dating in Washington grew up out this way. And his dad passed away unexpectedly. And he has a little brother out here, so he wanted to come take care of his little brother. And we were living together at the time, so it just was, like, natural. Like, you're going, family tragedy, I'm going. And we broke up pretty shortly after, but it was kind of one of those, like, I think I always wanted to leave Seattle. And at the time, it was like the only other place I'd ever really been was Georgia, because that's where family is, and I knew I didn't want to live in the South.
Oh, yeah.
And so for a couple of years, I wanted to go somewhere, I just didn't know where. So when that happened, it kind of, sad to say, it seems like it was a meant-to-be thing for me in my life. Me and him didn't work out, but I love Arizona.
Good. Good.
So how was it growing up in Seattle? Because I know I hear a lot of stories about the gloominess and all.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's really like that?
It's really gray. People always talk about the rain. It doesn't always rain, but it's always gray.
Yeah.
It's always gloomy. It's always cloudy. The summer, have any of you guys ever been there?
Yeah.
In July.
Okay, yeah. So the summer, you can't beat it, but it's just so short-lived. You get like a month and a half, and then it's back to gray. And
Do
cold.
people still use light boxes and stuff out there?
What you mean?
Like a light box, like it's so gloomy, they would have. That's all I've always heard, like to have light boxes or something like that.
Like in their hand?
Yeah, like a box or something that just
bring
give you
in
light.
some bright light into the home.
I don't know anything about that. I know what you're talking about now, but
Yeah.
I've never
I think
used
you
one.
still
My
have
family
some.
didn't have
Okay.
one. You mean to kind of give you like the vitamin D endorphins?
Yeah,
or
and
whatever?
just light because it's just
Yeah.
so gray out there.
I
No.
like Seattle, though. I guess to me, what I liked about it was I didn't pay attention to the gloominess, even though, like, the time
Well,
that
you
I
went in
out-
July.
Well, July, but I went another time, and it was, like, gloomy the whole time. But it was so green.
It's so pretty out there.
So pretty. I love
And see,
Seattle.
in Arizona, we don't get that green. You don't see that green. So, like, just that green, I was like, oh.
So it makes you not even think about
Right,
that.
so you
Yeah.
don't think about the gloominess. So, like, an outsider was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so awesome.
Because we went
I
in the
love
winter
Seattle.
time one time
Yeah,
around
I've been in
Christmas.
the
It was
winter
real
and
pretty.
summer. So how did you get from Georgia to Seattle?
My parents, actually. So I was born in Washington, but
okay.
my folks, they had my brothers in Atlanta, and then they, I guess, always, when they got married, it was always a goal to go out to the Pacific Northwest. That was like their dream. And they did a few years before I was born. So
Oh, okay. And so that's where you were born. Okay, gotcha.
And you said you worked in radio. What radio station did you work at?
So it's Riviera Broadcasting, but out here in Phoenix, they own 3. The main one that's known as Power 98.3, and then they have Hot 97.5, and then they have another one that switches what they are like every year. It's kind of the redheaded stepchild of the three stations. Yeah.
So what, like, when you were a child and when you were younger, what inspired you to work in radio or go towards that route?
Actually, radio came to me around the time that I was going to move to Arizona. I actually told my boyfriend that I mentioned earlier, if I get this job at the radio station, then I'll come. I wanted to come support him anyways, but it's like when you're not married and you don't have a child, there was just kind of that, like, I guess my mom's voice in the back of my head. Like, you don't want to move out of state for a boy,
Yeah.
you know? So I was like, if I can find a justification of I'm doing it for me as well, then I'll go. And they called me right away. So for me, I always wanted to be, I guess as a kid, a writer. I went to school for journalism. And so I never really thought about radio. I'd kind of poked around with like newspaper, but no one reads the newspaper anymore. And then I was working for a magazine for a while. And even those are all basically online now.
Yeah.
I've always loved music. I guess just kind of like the whole media outlet. Like I had been poking around in my early 20s. Like what can I do in this genre? And radio is kind of my new fascination. I applied to one in Seattle and I applied to one in Phoenix. And Phoenix actually got back to me first. So it just felt like fate. I was like, okay, baby, I'm coming.
Coming.
Yeah.
Mama's coming.
Yeah, I actually learned a lot about Arizona working in radio.
And What do you mean by that about Arizona?
Like the lay of the land. Like I had no friends. I didn't know where the cities were. I didn't know the streets because we'd go to different concerts and different events and different charity things and just meeting people and what was going on. Being in the media out here.
So on a personal note, how was that for your relationship? Being around different individuals all the time?
It actually didn't matter.
Okay,
in that
cool.
relationship, we broke up right away, but he
It
didn't care.
have nothing to
He
do with
didn't
it.
care. Yeah, and to be fair, he had a lot of personal stuff going on. I mean, with his dad passing away, so he didn't even, I don't think, had the emotional capacity to care what I was doing. He was just glad that I was here.
So how long did you do radio once you came here?
I've been here 4.5. I was probably in it for 2.5, about half the time that I've been here, maybe a little longer.
So did you do morning show, evening show?
Actually, I didn't have my own show. I was doing kind of part-time, trying to work my way, any shift that they would give me on air. I was trying. But I was working in the promotions department, so doing events.
Yeah.
She did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And it's interesting because the beat is more, obviously I'm researching all this, I don't know anything about the area. The beat was more like my type of music. But yeah, power got back to me first, so yeah.
Now I have a quick question.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to change it up a bit. Now, since you've moved here, has your parents come to visit and possibly say they want to move down here or like it down here?
My parents hate it out here.
Really? When did you bring them? In the summer?
They came for Christmas 2 years ago. And I guess my dad, he said before I was born, he had business in Tucson. So he had spent time in Arizona, didn't like it.
Gotcha.
I was so, I loved it right away. So I was like, and my parents are a little bit older, so they can retire out here. They can be snowbirds for sure.
Right.
They don't like the heat. They do not like it. When they came during Christmas, they said, yeah, that was cool. It was whatever. And I'm like, come on. They're like, nope.
That's when it sells.
Nope.
Yeah, that's when people pack up and ready to go.
I really thought, especially after, because, weather obviously is a big thing people talk about out here. There's no humidity. So I'm like, you guys lived in Atlanta for how long?
Yeah.
And the humidity out there is
Sweat,
miserable.
walk into your car.
Right. But I think that's the way they see it. They're just like, we did the hot weather. We did the hot weather. We did the hot weather. I'm like, it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
But I'll be really honest though, because I lived in the South. I like Arizona's weather better than the South. I cannot stand that humidity. But I'm not gonna lie, I also miss it at times because even in the hot summers at night, it was cool.
Yeah, gotcha.
I hear in Arizona you don't get that
Still
break.
hot.
Yeah,
It's still hot. Yeah.
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I still would pick Arizona.
I really thought they were going to follow suit. Just a little bit.
Just a little
We
bit.
never talked about it, but no, they do not like it.
Wow. Okay.
So is your old boyfriend still here? Or?
He is. He's married now. And he's out south, somewhere in between here and Tucson.
Okay.
Yeah. We have no contact. I know what he's up to via the socials.
Yeah.
We've had a couple random hellos, but wasn't
But you
meant
guys
to be.
both came here exactly for your own different reasons. So let's talk about the podcast.
Okay.
So what was your motivation or inspiration? Well, I know you said radio and all
Yeah.
that. So what made you say, okay, I'm going to do it?
Yeah. So when I started in radio, the goal was to get on air.
Okay.
And have my own show. And as I kind of started doing a couple shifts here and there, I really realized I cannot be me. I cannot be the personality that I am on the radio. And I really battled with that. Because I was like, I know I'm talented and I know I can play the part. I know I can do exactly what you want me to do, but I want to like it. I want to be me. And so then I started a YouTube channel. And yeah, that's how it started. I started putting out YouTube videos, which is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And so I was doing that for a couple of years and just struggling, feeling like I was putting in more than I was getting back and really didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I don't know what made me finally pull the trigger on the podcast, but it was finally I knew I needed to put my personality out there somewhere. And if I'm not on the radio and I'm not liking YouTube, now I got to try something else.
Something you got more control over, too.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it feels right.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels right. Radio really didn't. The podcast, or YouTube really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So for right now, yeah, I like podcasting.
Because you got more control over it as well.
Yeah.
So was Millie at 98.1?
Yeah.
Should we interview
Millie
her?
Rock.
Yeah. We love her to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no, the podcast definitely you have more creative control over that. So.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it so far?
I like it. As of right now, I just want to kind of start doing more stuff like this, like having more guests and open conversations and taking it to the next level, I guess.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you see yourself in your podcast and how far you've come? Do you see yourself kind of transitioning back to YouTube at all with that following from your podcast?
Transitioning back, no. I think I need to utilize them more hand in hand.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so hard these days. You have to focus on it all. Like, there's so many things you got to have your hands in when you're in the media. And so when I was doing YouTube, it was all about YouTube. And then for the past couple months, it's been all about the podcast.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm like, okay, I got to still put YouTube videos out. I still have to be able to do all of it. So I have a list right now of YouTube videos that I need to make. And I'm just like, damn, the podcast is so much swifter and quicker and easier. And yeah, I need to do it all, but it's a lot.
You'll find the time.
Yeah.
Or you can even use some of your podcast stuff in your YouTube video too.
Yeah.
So when you did YouTube, were you doing like the vlogs or like what were you geared more toward?
I have always all of my content is kind of comedy based. So my big, I guess, what I got the most traction for on YouTube was talking about being a bartender, and I had a little series going called Drunk People Are Dicks. And I would just bitch about, guess what this motherfucker did? And then I would tell a story. And it got to the point I was like, what kind of videos are these? Like, what are these? And people were like, they're story time vlogs. That's what it is. It's story time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I just tell stories about people in the nightlife.
And that's kind of like podcasting in a sense too.
Right.
Definitely.
But there's that other element of, okay, I got to make sure my makeup is on while I'm doing this.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to make sure that my dogs are not jumping on my shoulders.
Yeah. Whereas when you're doing podcasting, you're just like...
Yeah. You have no idea if I'm naked right now.
Pick your afro, daddy.
That's what I like about podcasting.
Yeah. Which is the cool thing about YouTube. People like that visual stimulation. But for the person creating, it's a lot more.
Yeah. Because you got to get ready, basically.
Yeah. Well, that, and then you got to match your audio with your video, and, mistakes are more easily noticed. And, it's just a lot.
That's a lot. So can you walk us a little bit through your podcast? Like, what do you choose to talk about? The format? Yeah, so how exactly do you go about that?
Basically, everyday life, I'm constantly taking notes. Like, I feel like my background is a writer first and foremost. However that translates is probably different. But I take notes about everything. And I usually end up taking notes about things that piss me off or things that make me laugh. And
so you write them in your phone? Okay.
And if it's something that pisses me off, it usually makes somebody else laugh. So,
all right, thanks for holding. So let's go ahead and continue.
You have a very sexy voice. You have the elevator smooth jazz voice.
She gets it from her mom.
That doesn't work for the customers.
No, seriously, people be hitting on me with my mom.
They be hitting on you.
Anyways, back to
older men, of course.
We're back
to Noe.
Noe, thank you for taking a shot with us.
Oh, thank you for giving me one.
A shot of Sitting Pretty.
Let's continue, ladies. Noe, as you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically, I just write down a lot of, my experiences, what happens to me. So there's really when people ask me what the podcast is about, I can say a lot of it is about dating and a lot of it is about the nightlife, but it's not really on purpose. Those are just my experiences. So if I experience something outside of that, it's still going to go on the podcast if I think that it's entertaining of any sort. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I just like to make people laugh. I like to make myself laugh, so that's where my
So make us
comes
laugh
from.
then.
No, wait.
Girl.
Wait. So since you do it weekly,
why are you getting serious?
This is a question I want to ask. So since you do it weekly,
when she's done.
So since you do it weekly, at what point, or do you have a running dialogue in your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't
Yeah.
like start at a certain point. You just
It just notes, bullet points. And then when the week comes, or like the day before I'm going to go, I will physically write down what's in my phone with more thought process to each note. Yeah.
Can you give us something from today?
From today, actually. Well, let me see.
Just a little tab.
you better not have us on there.
Not yet.
Sitting
But it
pretty.
will go down. Like, so for example, this will be something that I will talk about.
Okay, so this experience.
Do I have something that, like, you guys pissed me off with? No, because you would have already seen me over here writing it down on my phone.
good.
But this is an experience, so it'll make the podcast. You know, hey, I was with the Sin.3 ladies.
They fed me hot pickles.
Honestly, the Kool-Aid pickles will probably happen.
It's
For
probably
sure.
already in your notepad.
I didn't really like the blue.
Red,
I didn't really like the blue, but the red one was good.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what flavors.
My last note, and if you guys know anything about me, I talk about a lot of sexual shit, is the jizz loogie. Yeah.
You don't want her eyes light
I don't
up.
know what that is. Can you tell us?
Why her eyes light up?
The closet sicko over there is like a jizz loogie. I'll write one little thing down, and I just in the quickness, and I know what that is. And then when it goes for me to do the podcast, the day before, I'll sit and write. Okay, this is what happened.
Wait,
this
did
is
you
why I
say
want to talk
jizz
about.
loogie?
Yeah.
So, okay, before you go into detail,
I guess.
teach us what is a jizz loogie?
Okay, I'm not into all this sexual stuff, but
Don't lie, Scorpio.
okay, I'm gonna guess and then tell me if I'm wrong. So is it like if you suck somebody off and you get this stuff in your throat and you spit it out?
Girl, you're so good.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why is she trying to
Well,
act
there's a story behind it. But yeah. Yeah. She's like, oh, let me.
I want to be innocent, and I've been doing it all my life.
I've been spitting those out for years. I didn't even. Oh my god.
So for me, when I wrote that disgusting note down, there was a whole story behind it.
I'm a freak. I didn't realize.
Yeah, which I'm now mad that I said it because I don't even know if I'm going to put that on the podcast because the story's a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
so when you wrote it down,
That was it. That was the note. So like I just write little like couple word phrases that will remind me of something that happened.
So what reminded you of that?
like, did you swallow?
Like, I want to get nosy. I want to get nosy.
But you know, it gives you a loogie because you swallow it, it gets salty right here, and then you be like,
What is wrong with
am I right?
I told you about them too.
No, but am I right?
What about the pre-cum?
Because it gets salty right here.
What about the
That's
pre-cum?
kind of sweet. The other one, though, it gets right here, it gets salty. Remember, you know, no, I'm saying remember.
Remember when we was both doing it to him?
That time in Vegas?
But that's what makes it come back out as a loogie, though, because your reflexes is like,
I don't know why
Yeah.
y'all got her started.
girl.
She can keep going.
And
I'm
I
about to be a
swear,
sex-
y'all gave me a hard time.
It
today.
really be
No,
her.
but I have one too because I was looking at stuff on Instagram and you had something. One of your episodes was about what is it, old pussy or something? What was that about?
Cougar pussy.
Yeah, cougar pussy. I'm
yeah.
like, well, this girl is crazy.
Yeah.
What is cougar
Okay,
pussy?
so I'll be...
Look down.
Hey, go in the bathroom. Unzip your pants. No, I will be honest. A lot of my podcasts, I talk very openly about things that I feel like people
No, but I like
talk
that.
about, not on the microphone.
Right.
And so I do get a lot of, I don't know if you want to say heat or backlash or whatever. People are like, oh, she's nasty. I'm like, I know what the fuck you did 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You just didn't do it on a microphone.
You didn't talk about it.
So I talk very openly about sexual things and
So what's the
sexual
cougar pussy?
experiences.
What did you
The
call
cougar
that?
pussy came from, I was at a resort and there was an older lady hitting on the like much younger, he had to have been like 19 years old.
Okay.
Cashier.
Annie.
Don't choke.
Because you're speaking about her, any male that we interviewed. That's her. And then when she realized, like, oh, maybe you got a girlfriend. Okay, what about your daddy and
your uncle?
So yes, that would be in the cougar pussy category. Yeah. When you're hitting on a younger male.
That's
yeah.
the cougar pussy.
But this woman was like outwardly hitting on a much younger, and no shame.
See, I don't do that. I do it.
I hit on a little young tenderoni myself every now and then.
So then what you got?
cougar?
You got pre-cougar pussy?
I probably do too.
then they
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Nope, y'all.
I got the
If they in their
pre-cougar.
20s, I be like, cool.
Navarre got the kid. No, okay. The Cake at the kid cougar pussy.
You got the little kitty.
I told pretty cat.
And it's funny you say that because that was my note underneath.
What's one?
The cougar pussy was the note underneath the jizz loogie note. In my last. Oh, she got real tears?
Real tears.
Because when we said the kitty
Because she the cougar pussy and the jizz loogie. He was talking about her in both.
Then she was missing her spot on the table. She got hitting stuff.
Whatever.
Y'all involved, okay?
She having a sex stroke. A cougar stroke. Oh, goodness. Y'all are too much.
I love it.
What's
She talking about I love it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
My kind of conversation.
You need to invite us on your podcast.
No, I was gonna say we need to have her every 2 weeks.
That's my podcast. It's a lot of dirty, but
So if we come to your podcast, we can talk to
I feel that we're open to. It just kind of depends on the person that we're interviewing.
Because some people are,
But,
you know.
Right. We pretty much go based
What
off
did I
of their
tell you when I
energy.
text you? I said, we never know where it's going to go.
yeah, because I was kind of like, okay, I'm down. I want to meet you guys, but what are we going to talk about? You're like, well, we'll see. I was like, okay, I'll be there.
Right.
Cougar pussy it is.
I wonder if anybody else familiar.
Okay, can y'all stop giggling?
I'm sorry.
Noe, other than your podcast,
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
But was that
guess
title
who's-
something you made up?
Who's laughing the most?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's
The
funny.
cougar pussies laughing the most. Y'all are. I'm
oh
sorry.
my gosh. So because I feel like with your podcast, the stuff you're talking about, like if you took that like live somewhere in
It
front
would
of
be- it'd be
people,
awesome.
that would be so dope. So like now for 2020, I know you said you kind of just started like in the podcast, but you're doing well. Like, do you eventually see yourself like maybe podcasting live at like events or taking it live? Do you have any events or anything coming up that you plan on?
No. Well, after we were talking about the
That
pure
would be
romance,
perfect.
right?
Yeah,
that would be
perfect
perfect for you.
That's definitely something that I have thought about. I just haven't gotten there yet. And to be honest with you, it's really because my co-host, who's not my official co-host, I'm like, would he be down? Would I be able to get him to do this? Can I do it alone? Sure.
Right.
But at this point, I'm kind of trying to build this partnership still. So I don't know what his comfortability would be with something like that. But it's definitely a thought process.
That
That'd be
does
dope.
definitely fit.
It'll be sitting pretty, just
And there you go.
we'll
Sitting
combine
pretty on my pre-cougar pussy. Okay.
Hey, say it
You
again.
gotta come and do your.
I like the way that
Yeah,
sounds.
That would
Yeah.
be really dope.
Of course.
It's wrong.
No, even like McKay was saying, like taking that. I don't want to say taking that show, but taking that live
Yeah.
and talking to women, like that would be. Even if you did it like, because a lot of people do like are into like sex therapy and stuff, and do like different like brunch. And
I'm a sex therapist.
Girl, continue T to the E.
So that would be good if you went to something live like that, like a brunch where they're
Okay,
talking
serious.
about
I'm
women and women's
serious.
health or sex or whatever. So
Thank you.
I'm
yeah,
serious.
that's
I love
definitely. I'm still in the beginning stages, but like these are kind of some of the things that I've been thinking about is how to take it to the next level, where to go next. Yeah.
gotcha.
I'm trying to think.
No, I need to go back to this. I am a sex therapist, okay? I'm sex family.
You don't even know what this is.
Marriage
you
and
go
family.
be over there with
No, because I feel like you're playing me.
cool.
It's T to the E, y'all cougar pussy.
He can't say it straight faced.
Jealous because I'm a sex therapist.
Can y'all please stop?
I warned you.
Yeah, she warned these two right here.
I know. I'm like cougar pussy,
Yeah.
like so straight. And they're just giggling their asses off.
Because she's she knows she has a cougar pussy. That's why it's so funny.
It applies. Well, that's like the funniest shit is the true shit.
It is the true
So,
shit. See? The funny, like the true, real, recognize real.
Okay, go ahead. Let's keep
Say
going.
it. Can you just say it?
Okay, I do.
Say it.
Recognize real.
Say, I have a cougar pussy.
Say it one time for the podcast.
Say it.
Hi, my name's T to the E, and
Go ahead.
No, I'm not doing it.
Say it. See, you.
In denial.
You're in
Hi,
denial.
my name is T to the E, and I have a pussy.
you skipped a word.
I can't.
Finish.
We need so many edits on this.
Finish. No, we keep it.
Y'all really want me to say this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
You brought
I'm a
me on
sex
this
therapist.
show.
Right.
You
And this is
knew.
gonna help you.
Okay. It's your dumbass falling. Like, fuck y'all. I'm not saying it. No, I'm not saying it.
Do you want me to break it down
That's my-
further?
no,
Would I
that's
help?
my
So
sister.
you only have a cougar pussy if you're actively hitting on younger men.
Okay.
True.
Oh.
Okay, well then say it. Then say
Over
it.
here pulling spicy tea hair right now.
I don't. Then guess what? I don't. She said actively.
Actively.
She's like, once a month.
It ain't happened in a week. But you still do it.
No, when is the last time I did that?
Okay, just because we've been off the air for 3 months, I haven't been around you in 3 months. So me personally, in 3 months, no, you haven't done it.
Y'all, I am not doing that.
I'm not
Let's
listening
go.
to y'all.
Let's go to
So
another.
who was?
I'm not listening
No
to her.
judgment.
Can you just say it real quick?
I'm gonna stick you with this thing.
I am spicy tea, and sometimes I have a cougar pussy.
Sometimes I thought it was a pre-cougar.
So I am,
Wait,
kinda-
hold on. She about to say it. Please.
so I am T to the E, and sometimes I have a cougar pussy.
Okay, now we can be done. We
Now
can be
we're
done with
We're
y'all
done.
foolishness.
We're done. We're done.
We could be
Are you happy?
done
Why her voice
so
is
with y'all
happy?
foolishness.
The first step is admitting.
I'm
it.
admitting
So
it.
McKay need to say a baby.
I'm not saying that though. That's the difference. I'm not about to fall for y'all shenanigans. Can y'all please stop?
My name is McKay.
She's the one that edits.
It's
She gonna
never
take
been
all
this
the
hard
shit.
to like get them back.
I understand. I understand.
McKay, and I am a
Have a
kitty
baby
cat.
I don't know.
I heard
Can
Latricia.
y'all please?
Baby purple.
All three of them have tears in their eyes. All three of them.
Come on.
Say it. We are not gonna get straight until you say it.
No, well, I'm
We
gonna
have
start.
so many
I'm gonna
edits.
start
Y'all
talking
need to
about
pump my
something
baby
else.
into saying that.
Okay, go
Oh, I
ahead.
forgot
I feel
her mommy's
responsible.
Don't. This is all them.
You're probably the only
Wait, can you
responsible
cut
one
some
right
out?
I'll think about it. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
I got a headache.
So I know you spoke to us about starting to have guests or having guests, right? So have you had your first guest yet?
Yes.
Okay, so how was that experience? Who did you have?
Yes.
And how was that dynamic, just like you said, bringing somebody else to the table and getting that flow going?
Yeah. So back when I was doing YouTube, that was a goal for me then, and I didn't really realize until I started doing the podcast, it's a lot easier to have guests on a podcast than YouTube. So I did a security guard that I was working with at the Mint in Old Town Scottsdale on my
What's his
YouTube
name?
channel. Justin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he
This was a while back.
Wait.
He is Caucasian.
Oh,
And
thinking about it. It was
I don't
about
even
Justin.
think he works there anymore. But that was fun. But again, on my YouTube channel, so just totally different. It's a lot more editing and different things.
Caucasian.
Caucasian persuasion.
But this, once I started the podcast, I had my friend Hanan on maybe a month ago, 2 months ago. And she just recently got certified to be a Reiki master. So we were talking a lot about like spirituality and yoga and her experience with Reiki. And then this week, I actually have someone coming on that was on The Bachelor. TV show The Bachelor.
cool,
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Male or
it's
female?
different. I mean, like kind of how you're sitting like at the head of the table and you're kind
Right.
of running
That's
it, you
gonna be
know? Yeah, that's something that you have to think about is you can go off on a tangent and laugh and talk about whatever, but
Right.
then eventually you have to reel it back in, you know?
Like she
so,
just had to do.
right. So I have to be able to do both, you know?
To act up and then.
Yeah,
Right.
but also reel it back in, which is why my unofficial co-host DJ Take Two helps a lot, because he's more responsible than I am. So
So sometimes you don't reel it back in.
yeah, he'll look at me and be like,
Like
Let's
she's
go!
like she's doing us.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's our mama, and we her mama.
She the boss, child.
I surely am.
So
how does your family feel about you podcasting? Do they listen to your podcast? Do they give you feedback?
Absolutely not.
No.
So my family is super, super, super religious.
She did say that.
Yeah. When I started doing YouTube like 4 or 5 years ago, I literally hit my parents up basically to say, hey, if you see this or something, because you know how family is. Someone's going to show somebody. Someone's going to share it. And of course, you want people to share your content. But if it gets to your parents and they're not prepared, you know, so I kind of let them know, hey, I'm doing this. I believe in myself. This is what I want to be doing. I don't want you to be concerned and shocked when you see it. So out of respect, I'm letting you know right now this is what I'm doing. However, I'm a grown-ass adult. I haven't lived in your house for years, you know. And they were just like, okay, we don't want to see it. So that was with YouTube. Never really heard anything. They just said, okay. And then when I started the podcast, this is where it gets juicy. So in December, I said something about my brother on the podcast. Not mean, but I talked about him. And I usually don't speak about my family too much. He saw it. Lost his shit, or he heard it. He did not like what I said. Forwarded it to my mom. Mind you, my brother is 11 years older than me. So I'm kind of thinking, like, if anything, he'd hit me up and be like, hey, I don't like that you did this, whatever. He did, like, the tattletale move. Showed my parents.
He's in his 40s.
Why you tell?
And he's your
Her
brother.
age.
No.
You didn't want nobody knowing you was a cougar.
That's okay. I'm the pre-cougar age.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah,
No,
so
I'm
my brother is
I'm joking.
40, and he hit up my mom and was like, I can't believe Noe said this about me. What are you going to do about it? So, of course, my mom's like, what do you mean? What am I going to do about it? Like, she's a grown adult.
But everybody that listens don't know him anyway. So.
Right. But that's my brother. It's to be expected. So they kind of had the heads up. They don't, I mean, my parents don't cuss. My parents don't drink. My parents don't smoke. My parents go to church every Sunday. My parents go to church every Wednesday. They're very, very, very pure, if that's the word I'm going to use. So I warned them, you know, I'm going to be putting stuff out that you wouldn't necessarily approve of.
Exactly.
So...
Yeah, you did your part.
yeah. My brother really threw me under the bus back in
Yeah.
December,
So
though, because
did
they
he
had
ever-
never heard anything. They knew to ignore at that point in time. My brother was like, listen to this. Sent them the link. My mom was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that's what you're saying. I was like, I warned you.
Right.
Just
Did you
tarnishing
say anything
their
really
ears.
bad about? Was it something really
No,
bad?
but the thing that I said about my brother was not bad. He was being sensitive. However, when she's given the link to the podcast, she can then hear what I said at the
Everything.
beginning, middle, and it had nothing to do with the family. But she doesn't want to hear me talk about jizz loogies and cougar pussy.
Yeah.
So, opened up a can of worms.
Is your mama gonna hear this podcast?
She don't listen, do she?
She gonna listen to
My
it?
mom has listened to. I think she listened to when we first started.
Tell her to listen to this one.
So now I know I have another question now.
Okay.
Now that you said this, your family's religious. I'm assuming that, as you said, you grew up with a heavy background in religion. Like, probably did you go to church with them every Sunday as well when you were growing up? So do you feel, or how can I say this? Not necessarily. How was that transition for you? Making that kind of necessarily, I guess you can say, start transition from what your parents are and how they are in your family versus you. Like, how was that for you? Was it hard? Did you feel like you were betraying them, or?
Oh yeah, I still feel like I'm betraying them. I love my parents; they love me. But when I was 12, I knew that I was not going to be like them.
That was my question. So when you found yourself in church with them and going to church, did you find sometime thinking maybe you were different because you found jokes out of stuff that people probably didn't think was funny because you say you have jokes and things like that?
Yeah, I don't even think it started off as jokes as much as religion Mormon. They don't even call themselves Mormon. They're Latter-day Saints, the LDS, whatever you know them as. Simple things that to us don't seem like a sin is a sin in the Mormon religion. So wearing a tank top is a sin.
Gotcha.
Drinking caffeine is a sin. So where we're talking about sexual jokes and
you're way beyond.
you know what I mean? Those types of things. I wasn't thinking about that when I was 12. I wanted to wear a fucking pair of shorts.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to.
Gotcha.
I would get in trouble for putting makeup on. little things that like all my girlfriends were doing, like putting on eyeliner and wearing a crop top, and you know, I wasn't allowed to do, so I was sneaking it.
Gotcha.
And then once you go down that route, it's almost like, well, I'm not allowed to do anything, so I might as well do everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was harder when I was younger. Now I think I have a balance, you know, like I don't want to be part of the Mormon religion, but I can also respect certain things for why my parents wanted that. They didn't want me out on the street looking like a little hoochie. But all they did out of wanting that for me, because they do love me, it was good intent, but all they did was make me hoochier. I'm serious. I'm serious. Yeah.
Go look for the stuff they're keeping you from. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was the only daughter. So I think they didn't really have practice with, like, you know, teaching someone about cleavage and teaching someone about what lipstick might do to boys and things like that. They didn't know because I only have brothers. So
if their friends or the people in the religion found out about your podcast, like, would they...
Some of them know.
Oh, they do? Oh, okay.
I think that's their biggest fear. I think more so than a fear of God, I think they fear the judgment of other people in the church. And that's what I don't respect, because I don't do judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
In any form, or at least I try not to. I mean, we all do. We're human, but that's my problem with the church, is the judgment factor of it.
Gotcha.
I hate that my parents probably really don't care what I do and say as long as I'm healthy, but they're so concerned about the judgment from the church about their parenting for what I'm saying on a fucking podcast.
And I think that's in any religion.
Yeah. I think Mormons take it to a new level.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I know, like, when you have, I mean, like for Christians, like you have your Christians, your saints, there's a lot of judgment that goes on, and they try to do things based off of, well, I don't want to be judged, or
they worry about
but the same people that are judging you, how do they know what's on your podcast if they didn't go listen?
Exactly.
Why are you listening?
Or if somebody in their family didn't go listen.
Right.
Because they're doing, I mean...
Somebody listened for you to have judgment.
But those are to me, those are the individuals that judge the most.
The ones that are in the religion. And that's how I felt at a young age. I remember I had never even touched a boy. And I would get in trouble for, you know, wearing the tank top, for an example. But I had girls that were in my, like, Sunday school class that were sucking dick already.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm serious. And then going to church and giggling about it in the bathroom. But then sitting there with their long skirt and looking the part, and their parents so proud, and I'm over here maybe with a shorter skirt, but I've never even touched a man before. But I'm being judged because of my outfit. I was like, this is not for me. This is not what God is.
Got these old dick sucking at, and I'm playing.
Yeah.
And you want
sucking dick on Monday, praying on Sunday. I was not about it. I was not about it. Yeah.
That is deep. That's true. That's real talk.
And like you said, every religion. But for me, growing up Mormon, I thought that was a big part of people playing a part on Sunday and then acting differently the rest of the week.
That's every religion.
Yeah, I've been sitting in church just looking like, okay.
I know what you do.
Just did.
Yeah.
All right.
You still got the jizz loogie on the side.
Right. Okay, so before we go ahead and end off for the night, did you ladies have anything you wanted to speak on? Any questions that you wanted to ask Noe?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I think we hit it on. Noe is awesome.
They're scared to ask anything else. No, thank you guys for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. So, before we end off, can you go ahead and let everyone know where we can find you out on social media?
Yes. All my socials are Noeygnome. Gnome is Gnome. A lot of people don't know that. I found out.
Where'd you get that name from? That's what
It's so cute with the logo.
Thank you. Noeygnome was actually my Instagram name. That was all it was at first. And just because it rhymed, I thought it was cool that it rhymed, but it wasn't spelled the way that it sounds. And then when I decided to like create a YouTube and create a brand, I was like, I'm just going to keep it. But yeah, it was my Instagram name from like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Gnomes are creatures of the night. I've been a bartender. I thought it was funny. Time.
The logo is cute.
Do some people call you Noeygnome?
Yes. Yes. A lot of people say Noeygnome or Noeygnome. I'm like, no, gnome is spelled with a G.
All right. So, anything else, ladies? She let us know where we can find her out on social media. We do want to say thank you for headlining season 3 for us and setting the tone.
Setting the tone.
Thank you for waking T to the E up. She is a newfound woman.
Oh my God.
And I feel that she can appreciate her cougarness.
Yeah, you gotta own
everything. You gotta own it. So thank you for making T to the E a new woman tonight.
Oh, girl.
I'm done with y'all. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
We enjoyed having you. So before we end off for the night, we're going to go ahead and close out. And then we just go ahead and say our names when we close out. And you can just go ahead and... Well, no. I'm sorry. We haven't done this in a second. Are there any shout-outs or anything else that you want to give before we close off for the night? Anything that you want to say? You got to let off your heart.
No, I mean, this is my first podcast that I've been on.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was really cool. I appreciate you guys. And, you know, coming out in Arizona, I feel like everyone out here is doing their own thing. But their minds are running a mile a minute and then they can't keep up. And you guys actually kept up with what you have said to me and what you've communicated with me. So I appreciate you guys just for being who you are and doing what you're doing. And
Thank you.
that's it. Shout out DJ Take Two, my unofficial co-host, my mama and my daddy. I'm sorry. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and sign out for the night, ladies.
It's Kimmy. We out.
Spicy Tea. We out.
It's T to the E.
Cougar pussy.
I was gonna say that's right.
And Noe G.
It's Nikkei. We out. Peace.
People be like, Navarre, it don't ever bother you when people call you bougie? No. And I'm about to tell y'all why. Yeah. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get shot. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie, so you know it's rap. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get got. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie, so you know it's rap. Yeah, double C's on my eyes, so I'm seeing clear. Just left the dealership, I'm a swerving stare. On the loop 202, and I'm heading near you. What? Okay, I might just pull up in the Accord, but don't worry, got the X3 keys in the door. What more can y'all even ask for? Fan first, pod son, sitting pretty, we on, yeah, we about to be litty on the moon, and we got new work coming real soon. And as for you, you should have been on, cause we about to take over the whole damn zone. We doing this as a team, so we all about to be flashy, what bling bling. Right, get it, but back to me, 800 on some bundles, that's nothing. A stack on some shoes, that's nothing. I know it's something to you, so why are y'all frontin'? Got 3 jobs, so you know your girl be hustling. I really just like nice stuff, so I'm not frontin' for nobody. Like y'all weak ass little thotties. Gotta call your sugar daddy just to buy an entree. But please don't get it twisted. Come try me and you might get your wig lifted. My daddy taught me well, so I don't with the snitches. Nah. Just know I'm bougie, and you gotta what? Deal with it. Bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang, bougie gang. Got 2 necklaces from Tiffany's. My ice 10 times your nose ring. You better back off before you get got. I'ma knock you with my rose gold wristwatch. Y'all think this is a game, but I'm spitting facts. My middle name Bougie.